Hello students, welcome back again in lecture number 4. In last lecture we have seen that there are two types of resistive pressure transducers and those are diaphragm type and bellows type. In this lecture we are going to study about inductive pressure transducer and capacitive pressure transducer. So let's go ahead. So here it is the inductive pressure transducer. In this method, we are going to change the corresponding self-inductance of the sensing element. Here you can see that there is a coil on the both side and here it is the sensing element. Okay, here it is the pressure inlet and these are the bellows. In last lecture we have studied about the bellows and it was said that whenever we just give the pressure to the bellows, either they expand or they contract, and based on that this spring will either contract or expand. Suppose I am giving high pressure over here. Because of that high pressure, these bellows will be expanded, and because of that this spring will get contracted. Now what happen? This sensing element will go downward side, and because of that this coil and this sensing element is made from a magnetic movable coil. Okay, and because of that this part is magnetic movable core, and when this movable part enters from here, you can say, let me erase this one so you can clearly understand. When this part moves like this, it comes under the effect of this coil's inductance, and because of that you can measure the self-inductance of the sensing element. When pressure is decreased, what happens? These bellows get contracted and this spring gets expanded. Okay, let me erase it again. These bellows get contracted and this spring just expands, and because of that this iron core moves upward direction and it just neglect the effect of these inductance of the coil, and because of that self inductance of that coil decreases. Similarly, what happens when pressure increased? I told you the self inductance increases, and you can see over here that pressure can be measured by measuring the self-inductance of the sensing element, and with this you can just connect the AC bridges over here and you can measure what is the pressure inlet. There are some advantages of inductive pressure transducer, and those are there is no friction losses. Whatever we just had in the resistive pressure transducer, because there is no moving parts or because of no moving parts there is no wear and tear, so we can say that there is no friction. Next topic is capacitive pressure transducers. So here we can see that the working principle of the capacitive pressure transducer is based on the physical position change of the capacitor, and we get the actual output of the pressure changes. Clear? So we can say that here change of the pressure is detected by the variation of capacitor plates, and that can be measured with the help of bridges. Clear? So here if we say the capacitance is given by using this formula, C equals to epsilon 0 epsilon r A divided by D, where epsilon 0 is permittivity of free space, epsilon r is permittivity of dielectric material, which we have put between the plates of the capacitor. A is the area of capacitor surface and D is the distance between two plates. Here, if I want to change this capacitor, then we can say epsilon 0 is constant. So we cannot change it, but we can change epsilon r. So if you want to change, or if you change the dielectric material, then permittivity of dielectric material will be changed, and based on that you can say capacitance will be changed. Now what if I just change the area of capacitor surface, then you can say C is directly proportional to A, and because of that you can say that capacitance will be changed. Now here you can see that capacitor is indirectly proportional to or inversely proportional to D. So you can say that C is proportional to 1 upon D. That's why by changing the distance between two plates you can change the capacitance. So here we have three options to change the capacitance using this formula. Clear? So here it is the working of this capacitive pressure transducer. Here it is the construction. These are the plates. This one is one plate, this is the second plate of the capacitor. But as a one plate we are going to use the metallic diaphragm that can be used as the one plate of the capacitor. Now this whole phenomenon is insulated in the box, and here it is the cavity, or you can say vacuum part. Whenever you apply pressure from here, in the first, when there is no pressure, you can say that your diaphragm is like this. But when you apply the pressure, the diaphragm will move like this, and because of that this distance between two plates will be changed, and because of that you have already seen that capacitance is proportional to 1 upon D, and because of that capacitance will be changed. So whenever capacitance changes, you can see that reactance of the capacitor will be changed, and because of that whenever you connect it with the AC voltage source, you get the change in the output voltage. However, we can vary, after varying the capacitance, we have to connect this capacitor part with the AC bridges or DC bridges, and we get the signal in AC output or DC output. There are some advantages of capacitive pressure transducers. Let's check it out. First one is inexpensive and easy to construct. Second advantage is it produces an accurate frequency response to both static and dynamic measurements. There are certain disadvantages of capacitive pressure transducers, and those are an increase or decrease in temperature to a high level will change the accuracy of device. So we can say accuracy of device is based on the temperature. So if we make a large change of temperature, then accuracy is largely affected. Second disadvantage is, as the lead is lengthy, it can cause an error or distortion in the signals. So here the topic is over. Thank you so much.